So you want a man to tell you what you can wear, where you go, what kind of job you have, if you can go out with your girlfriends, how you behave, and all of those things, that kind of dominance all the time? No, I didn't think so. Okay, so you want a guy who's basically a cool, kind, and considerate guy who just happens to also be a dominant sexual partner. So you want to kind of really define what it is that you want, right? Because there is a man for everything, for sure, but there's more rarefied creatures than others. I'm sorry. You sound like a mid-'80s relationship manual, and the reason I'm saying that is because you have to understand what that means. Correct, because it doesn't fucking exist. It's a fairy tale, and it's not that different from the usual kind of fairy tale. What's the usual kind of fairy tale? Maiden and damsel in distress, up in the tower, helpless, gets rescued by the knight who sweeps her away on the horse to God knows where the fuck they're going. It never goes any further than that, right? So that's what you kind of have to feel is, yeah, we can have that. You can have that for 3 weeks, or a month or two or something, right? Yeah, you can have that. It's a trope. It's not a lifestyle, though, right? So you will have to adjust, and that's not to say it doesn't exist, period. It doesn't exist in that form, because it's selling you some goods that require a posture from both people that doesn't survive long-term committed relationship. Because in long-term committed relationship, what also has to be there is a real mutual understanding and collaboration. And so when we talk mutual understanding and collaboration, we're talking very different things than, come here, do this, I'm taking you on a date, right? Because it's a bit dehumanizing to expect a guy to always be that, and then also be that at work, and then also be that in the bedroom, and then also be that in his hobbies or something like that. It's incredibly tiring, as we all know, to be leading shit all the time, right? Nobody can do that. You're like a donkey around a freaking well, like any human, man and woman alike, we're now talking, you want a man, you're a woman, right? But it could be two women, could be two men, makes no difference, needs a break from the stuff that's happening. And so the problem that I've seen many, many years, onwards now, is that women have this idea that the guy is always doing that, and when he drops it for a moment, they get really pissed and become abusive, because they've also read that the feminine is wild and lets her man know through violent feedback when he's off. That's abuse. Let's just be very, very clear. That's extremely abusive to give a guy a hard time for being tired, or for needing a break, or for not being up for lifting the damn weight again and again and again, right? And so that's why we have to put your desires, which are valid desires, right? I think most of us would like our partners to, lead competently in all areas of life that we value. That's certainly true for me, and I'm sure it's true for many other people. You want to be with somebody who's competent and able to navigate and doesn't lose their shit the first time something happens, right? It's nothing worse. I remember this distinctly. Once I was driving with a guy who I was dating back then, and he completely lost his shit when he missed his freeway exit. This was pre-GPS. This is how long ago this was. You had to do Thomas guides and shit like that, if you remember those days. So, which by the way took some real skill, right? So you really needed to know how to navigate it. That was like a sexy skill. a dude who can flip through the Thomas guy. But yes, but this guy lost his shit because we missed an exit. And my attraction to that guy was never the same. Right? I mean, very honestly, that was like, dude. You know? But the reason that's not sexy is because it means that when shit goes down, you can rely on somebody. Right? So we have to differentiate between, do you want a good time with a guy for a couple of weeks where you play that out all the way? That can be very healing. Or do you want a long-term relationship? Fair enough, I'm all with you. I just think it's important to understand that why these guys didn't last longer than a week is because some guys are the kind of guys who can do that, and they do that, but they are the very makeup of that kind of dominant man is, there's the other side, right? And that's the thing that no one wants to hear. A guy who's that much focused on his career, on getting his woman to do the things he enjoys for his pleasure, for her pleasure maybe, is also unwilling to commit, because why would he commit to one woman if he can have 20? Yes, I don't just make this shit up to make you feel bad, right? And that's the thing that nobody talks about, right? The very disposition that makes the guy capable of navigating the way you like to be navigated is the disposition that says, I want multiplicity. Because the more powerful a man is, the more women he can have. That's just the way it goes. And unfortunately, in today's day, powerful doesn't necessarily mean what it used to mean. Now you can be powerful by having Instagram followers or shit like that, right? You don't have to have actual accomplishment. But power and fame and reach and influence are attractive to somebody who theoretically wants to have children, because it means survival of offspring. So we are drawn to somebody who gives us survival of offspring. And by the way, that's the same in same-sex relationships. It's no different. You have one person who goes, oh, I feel safe, I feel seen, I feel like I'm going on a ride, and the other person's going, I want to take you somewhere, baby, right? It's like, it's the same dynamics. Doesn't matter if, it's just different people have different preferences. So with that said, what you're looking at is that particular archetype isn't long-term boyfriend material or husband material or father material. But they're also not husband-father material, not only because they want that multiplicity, but because they're too one-focused to be able to live a full life. Yeah. I have a very dear friend who is the most amazing human, but wouldn't commit if he, if you tie him to a woman, simply because he has all these options and he's 100% focused on his career. And so why would he? Right? For him, sexual engagement or relational engagement is what you do on an off day as a palate cleanser between another bout of getting one's, career met, right? And that's not whom you want to be with. That's a type of man, and it's interesting sexually if you're into that, but it's not a relationship, right? And so because it's not a relationship, you can have that, and it's good to fulfill that craving, right? And go, that guy over there, he looks like a proper player. I bet he's really amazing in bed, right? And you taste that like one tastes a good sushi meal, but you don't have sushi every day. Well, some people have sushi all the time, but you know what I mean. So you have to go, if I want that in my life, where am I willing to support that, and where am I willing to let that on occasion go? So what that means now, without looking long term, so if you want a guy who is towards that but not all the way there, you're going to understand that he's going to spend fairly little time with you. So that's the first thing to understand. Even if you live together, he's not going to be the guy with whom you have brunch every Sunday, right? He's not going to be the guy who hangs out with you in all his free time. He doesn't have free time. Now, my favorite avatar of sexy right now, which says a lot about me, is Andrew Huberman. You know who Andrew Huberman is, right? You bet Andrew Huberman does not spend time with his girlfriend in the evenings. He's a scientist. He's a nerd. He's a total nerd. He's a scientist. I mean, even though he's buff and, he's smart and he talks a good game, and he loves dogs. That's not a guy with whom you hang every evening. That's a guy who gets up, he does a freaking cold dip, then he eats all his freaking vitamins, then he goes on a run, then he lifts weights, then he's in his lab, then he writes papers, then he gets research grants, then he records his podcasts 3 times a week for which he has to research long form thing. And then at some point he'll come home and, at least in my fantasy, he'll bend his girlfriend over the kitchen counter and, they have great sex and then he'll eat a sandwich and go to bed or something like that, right? So that's not proper relationship material all the way. But it's doable if you know that that's what you get. So what that means is who you have to be with a man who has that depth of focus and who has that kind of dominance. That doesn't happen in one domain. Right, like you said, you don't want a guy who's like this kind of somewhat laid-back, floppy boyfriend, and then he turns it on sexually. That's not going to work for you. You're going to want a guy who kicks ass, takes names later, has great sex with you, and also enjoys spending some time with you. That's the purple unicorn. So, that's the ticket. So how do you get that? Well, you don't get that by energetically surrendering, like it's discussed in the literature. You get that by having a full life of your own, so that you are not sitting home, claim me, deep masculine consciousness, I have nothing to do all day, and so my body is ready for you. Because that's way too much fucking demand on a guy like that. Right? You want to have a life of your own where you have interesting things to contribute. So you come home from your lab, he comes home from his lab, you have an intelligent conversation, and then you are able to relax and open your body. Not all the freaking time, right? So that's super, super important, because that's the difference between a long-term sustainable relationship and the fantasy. You got to be able to hold the time alone. You got to be able to hold your mind and your body as somebody who's interesting, somebody who has a life, somebody who contributes to a relationship. And then, this is the one, primary marker of successful long-term relationship, you have to have some generosity. Right? So generosity is the one thing that they have studied as the main marker of a relationship staying alive and successful. And so generosity means that ever so often, when dude comes home, he is going to just need a bit of time to be floppy. And then that can't be the end of the world. On the contrary, you have to essentially go something like, you really need to not lead right now. Hey, let me give you a blowjob and a sandwich, right? So, not as a selling out the sisterhood for the end of times, but as a generous offer towards somebody's needs. I'm making the blowjob and the sandwich up, but I'm probably not that far off, right? Meaning, undemanding, joyous, generous attention could be a foot rub. Could be leaving them alone in a room, right, with the TV on. here's your favorite sports channel. Enjoy your Sunday off. I'm going to go out with the girls, right? Like that kind of a thing. That's what makes a relationship sustainable. Is if you go, you can't be on all the time. You also need that thing where you don't need to lead me. Doesn't necessarily mean I need to lead you, because that's also not fun for you. But I'll let you do your thing, and when you are replenished, we'll pick back up where we left off. Yeah. And that's the thing that you have to cultivate. And that's every man I know, and I know lots of very wealthy, very famous, very dominant men, because that goes with the territory, right? You've never met a floppy, wealthy or famous man. You just don't, right? Because it takes something to get there. Now, they're not all, I only know the nice ones because I can pick and choose who I work with, right? But there are some really unpleasant ones. But the nice ones all share one marker, and that is that they are very wealthy, they're very famous, they're very dominant, but they also are decent humans. And as decent humans, they also need care and concern and some love and some generosity and a bit of slack on occasion. And anyone I know who is that and who has a partner who is like let's say formidable in their own way. Doesn't mean you need to also run a business or be famous, but you need to have interests, you need to have a skill or an art or an offering that makes you, and you said you're a musician, so that's great, right? So you're already in the game. You've got something of your own going on that is an art, that is a contribution, that's an inspiration. You know? And then you are not only the floppy, like you said, the doormat who goes, oh, claim me. You know, you're actually a full human being with a life of your own, and you're getting with a guy who is also that, and then that makes for something interesting. Yeah. So it is doable. You can have it, but you have to adjust your lens a bit. You know, it's not about the energetics of surrender. It's about the energetics of being able to relax when needed, but also not be needy when that's, you know. And when you just become floppy, you become needy, as you know from your 10-year relationship. It's a posture. It's not who you are. And this is why it's so dangerous when you let yourself into these tropes, right? It's not who you are. If you are, you know, some kind of mindless bimbo who for the life of her couldn't get her shit together, then, you know, more power to you if you can work that in your advantage. But because, you know, there's somebody for everybody, and some guys like that. They like women with only a quarter of a brain. They do. There's guys like that. I know women like that who are perfectly happy with dudes. Well, no, some women are just very simple. Yeah. They're not even traumatized. No, not necessarily. Some guys just don't want any bother. Some guys just don't want any bother. And there is some women, I know one woman, she is just always happy. I'm like, how the fuck? She's always happy. She's always smiling. She's very simple. In the sense that she's cool. You do this, she's cool. You do that, she's cool. He comes home, she's like, hi! You know, she's just not a difficult human. And this guy is just doing his thing, having a nice home life. It's not his trauma. He just prefers not having to deal with shit. And then in his job, he deals with some very complex shit. Very, very complex shit. And so it works for them. And you know, I think she's on baby number 7 now. And she loves it. She's so happy. She's an artist. She paints. I don't think she's worn shoes in several years because they live on this massive estate in Malibu. And, you know, she's got the animals, she's got the kids, she has all the money in the world. She's always happy. So there's different things for different people. But you are not that. And so don't sell yourself short for an ideal that's not only unrealistic, but not yours. Honestly, you can have it all. It's just, it doesn't look exactly like in a fairy tale. You're gonna have to also work for it. But nothing good ever comes without you having to apply yourself.